Hi guys, so one of the motivations for starting this channel was to call out corruption whenever I see it. And here is a perfect example of that. This is an article from the National Scottish newspaper. It says here, Scott's Tory donor wins £93 million UK government contract for PPE. Now you probably think, well, you know, what's wrong with a company winning a contract for PPE? Well, the problem is this company has donated money to the Conservative Party. And what we're seeing is the Conservative Party handing them a contract. So it says here in the article, a Scotland-based firm which has given hundreds of thousands of pounds to the Conservative Party received a £93 million emergency PPE contract from the UK government. It has emerged. The contract was given to Globus Shetland Limited without going to competitive tender under emergency rules earlier this year, the Daily Record reported. So what's important about this is normally what happens is when the government want to do something, for example, build a bridge or open a hospital or whatever, they put this work out to tender. So they offer this work to many companies. The companies put in their bids, they offer a price, and the government decide, normally based on the price, which company to choose. Now, because of the pandemic, whether this is true or not, the government have decided to suspend the tender process and just give out contracts to who they wish. Now, isn't it interesting that the company who received it was donating to the Conservative Party? So it says over the last 4 years, the firm has given more than £365,000 to the Tories. The news comes amid calls for an investigation into the lack of competitive tendering over PPE supply. Now, this is from the Electoral Commission website, just to give you an example of one of these donations. So you can see here, Conservative and Unionist Party Great Britain. The donation was in cash, and the amount was £50,000. Who did it come from? You can see here, company Globus Shetland Limited. Now this is just one donation. I don't know if you can see this. I'll link, of course, in the description. This is a PDF from a list of donations from Globus Shetland over the last number of years. The party they sent it to was the Conservative and Unionist Party. We have here for, let me see, in 2019, they gave £50,000 in cash. £50,000 in cash, £50,000 in cash, £2,500 in cash, £5,000 in cash, £50,000 in cash, £5,768 non-cash, and this was sponsorship. We're not sure what that is about. The rest, £52,400 in cash, £50,000 in cash, £50,000 in cash. Now, why is a company giving money to a political party? Is it because they agree with the policies of that political party? Is it because they like Boris Johnson? They like how he operates? No, this is about favors. This is corruption. This is legalized corruption. What happens? A company donates money to a political party, and then the political party turn around and give them a contract. In this case, it's a contract for £93 million. They bypassed the tendering process, which there's no, you know, the governments don't say, okay, let's give us some information about your pricing, give us some bids, something that we can evaluate. No, here is the contract, and thank you for your donation. Once again, this is pure corruption. Just because we have it registered on a website doesn't mean that it's not corruption. You know, we have to get away from this idea that politicians receive brown envelopes, you know, in car parks filled with cash. These are donations from companies directly to politicians, political parties, in order to gain favors. These companies are not, once again, donating money because they care about the party's policies. They don't care about Boris Johnson or Theresa May or a particular politician in Scotland or in other parts of the country. It's about favours. Now, this is anti-democratic, because if a company is able to donate £50,000 in order to, for example, not in this scenario, but to influence public policy, how does an ordinary voter compete with that? How many voters does it take to influence public policy when a company can just come along and donate £50,000 and influence public policy? Once again, I have to call out this corruption. This is pure corruption, nothing else. This sort of mechanism needs to be, this sort of way of dealing with, dealing between companies and political parties needs to end. We need to have public funding for political parties, not this private funding. Politicians and political parties should be accountable to the public. They should be representing their constituents, not private companies. Unfortunately, I don't see this changing. Unfortunately, I see this pandemic as facilitating this even more. This is just one example, and we're looking at £365,000, which is a drop in the bucket when we compare it to other companies who have been donating to the political parties. Now, there is a sort of funny irony here that you are allowed to corrupt the political parties, but there are limits. You know, you can't just hand over £1 million to a political party in one go. You have to spread it out. Otherwise, it would be considered illegal. So it's perfectly legal to hand over cash to a political party in order to gain favours. In this example, of course, getting a PPE contract. But it's not legal to actually just hand money over to Boris Johnson in a brown envelope. It has to go through the proper channels. So the corruption has to go through its own proper channels. We have to call this out, guys. We have to point this out to people. People have to understand that, you know, you may be voting, you may think that you have power, but your power is nothing compared to what private individuals with a lot of money or businesses themselves have. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?